I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is the Beyond the Mouse podcast, the podcast for all things Disney for NPR Illinois Community Voices and for the Front Row Network. I am Craig. I'm your host. I'm joined today by my two co-hosts, Mr. Brett Rutherford.
Hello.
And Miss Vanessa Ferguson.
Hello.
Everybody, it is a new year. Congratulations. We made it through 2020. It is now 2021. Who knows what's in store for us this year, but this is one of my favorite episodes of the year. It's become kind of a tradition that we take a look back and talk about things that we might have been grateful for in the year in Disney in our year in review, and also look forward to the future. And so I'm excited to do that today. And Brett is really zippy today. We have had... It has taken us like 15 minutes to start this recording because Brett is on like cloud 9 today. So I have to go to him first. What are you loving 2021 so far?
So far, knock, knock, toy, toy, toy. You know, I'm not a superstitious person. I am a superstitious person, and I'm also suspicious too.
You're a little.
Well, 2021,
maybe not superstitious, but you're kind of stitious.
Yeah.
I'm both. What? It's all good. Hi, welcome to 2021, y'all.
And really, we're recording this in 2020. We should be truthful to our audience. We are still sitting here in 2020.
That's why I'm knocking wood, because I hope we get there.
We are aspiring to 2021. Vanessa, how is your 2021 treating you in the metaphorical future so far?
Oh, it's amazing on the other side. 2020, it was awful. And then all of a sudden midnight, and it was like, this is amazing. Can't wait for you guys to join us.
I can't wait to be there too.
I'm just really glad that you're all tuning in to us because, New Year's it's a revitalization. It truly is. It marks that time that we can look forward to things, being blissfully unaware of what is heading towards us like a bullet train out of nowhere. So we're excited for whatever happens in 2021 moving forward. But what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a bit about what we're grateful for out of 2020, even though we have maybe it was an interesting year to be sure, but we certainly have some things to talk about that we are grateful for. And one of those things I wanted to call out at the very beginning is all of our amazing guests. So what we're going to do, because we've had so many guests to talk about, we're going to do a couple of rounds that don't include guests as part of what we're grateful for. Then we're going to really dive in and talk about all those people that shared some time and their experiences with us and how grateful we are for them. And then we're going to wrap up the show today talking a bit about what we're looking forward to in 2021. And maybe, just maybe, it's just the fact that it's 2021 and not 2020, but we'll see. I will say, I went back and listened to this episode from last year, and Vanessa, I'm going to blame you for part of 2020 because literally the last thing that was said on our podcast that we were looking forward to in 2020, that we recorded in 2019, was the show Be Our Chef on Disney Plus. And we have already talked about this show several times in the last couple of months. It did not live up to expectations, much like the year itself did not live up to expectations. So I thought I might pitch it to you and say, would you like to answer for your crime against humanity here in 2020?
No hablo inglés. Lo siento. No hablo. No comprendo. Okay, I'm so sorry. I thought Be Our Chef would be amazing. Because what I thought up in my head was great. And then you guys teased me relentlessly about it not being on Disney Plus. So I instead of me letting it go, I doubled down on my New Year's resolution to watch it. And then it turned out not being that great. Just like the year. So I'm so sorry. That's my bad. COVID's on me, guys. I'm so sorry. I won't let it happen again. I'm looking forward to nothing.
Well, we'll see what you're looking forward to. And honestly, truly, this of course
Your
is
fault.
just some joking around with you, because you did actually provide one inspiration for something that I'm looking forward to potentially in 2021. But we'll get there. That's your tease as we dive into what we were grateful for in the year that was 2020. And we're going to go around and talk a bit about that. I'm going to let Brett start our conversation. What were you grateful for in 2020?
Actually, so much. Honestly, it was a good year, and it was a really good year here at Beyond the Mouse. But well, I'll just say, some of the episodes, since we're talking about non-guests right now, a couple stick in my mind, and I don't know how round robin-y snaky we're going to get with these choices. I'm sorry, Vanessa. The joke continues because I don't get it. But anyway, I was very thankful, because y'all were so nice, for Brett's Big Business, Beyond the Mouse, Brett's Big Business Birthday Bash, because you were so nice to me. like, which I love. And I also loved
we decided
sharing
to
the
be nice to you.
So it was, it was one of my favorite movies, and you both watched it, and Craig, I wasn't sure if you were gonna. Yes, we did. We had. Oh, it was just fun. So that's one thing. So,
Nice.
do I need to go to any more, or am I going to stop right now?
It's like I made fun of you for pitching out 3 things right away last year, and so now you have decided
I have
only
3
gonna
things.
say
If we're
one thing at a time. But let's go ahead. I mean, that was a really fun episode for sure, and it was a great movie and available on Disney Plus. So go and check out Big Business. It's funny because Big Business coming on Disney Plus was one of what you were looking forward to in 2020. So you nailed it there. You knew.
I know.
This
First
was coming
round,
out,
yeah.
and you knew you were going to have us watch it.
It was the second round that I think we all kind of went askew. But anyway, yeah. Oh, which reminds me, because we haven't yet celebrated Vanessa's birthday. That hasn't happened yet because this is January 1st, 2021. But I suggest that we have a Vanessa's birthday bash. So I guess that means that there's a movie that is in the Disney Touchstone, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm area that you want us to watch.
Yeah.
So, and then we can be nice to you.
Yes, please. Yes.
Only for that.
Is that
one
something
day.
we can do?
For my birthday, maybe in 2021, since we didn't get to do it in 2020, we can watch the movie while you were sleeping. And more specifically, I'd like you to watch me do the movie while the movie's on, because I every line, and every time I watch it with people, they get really annoyed and they say, "Are you really going to do that throughout the whole movie?" And I say, "Are you wearing the black bra? What? I love black underwears." And it's really, really funny, but they don't get it. So anyway,
I'll get it because I do that with Big Business. But you didn't get to watch me live, but you got me to text right before it happened. And now she's going to say, "I'm wearing my Tuesday panties too, but I guess you know that, I'm wearing my Tuesday panties, but I guess you know that too." Or, frogs.
that's right. Yeah.
All of the lines. Oh, see, I can do it right
really
now.
Into ladies' underwear this particular episode, but
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna go to Vanessa next for,
Okay.
and I should say this is what we're grateful for in Disney, dumb. And so, what are you grateful for this year, Vanessa?
Well, also, I think we had a missed opportunity, because how funny would it have been if you had said, let's talk about what we're grateful for in 2020. And then it was just silence for a good hour on our podcast. And then people would be listening. They're like, did the audio drop? How funny would that have been? It'd been
That would have been really
hysterical.
funny.
Anyway,
Yes.
Okay. What am I excited for? I will tell you. I really appreciate, the thing I most appreciate that's not guest related of this past year, it is actually guest related, is our guest, James Mason. I tell you what, I love James Mason so much. Anytime James Mason comes on the screen, I am laughing and giggling. I have to turn my mic on mute because it's too much. I know. But I mean, I just feel really strongly about James Mason. I hope he
James
comes
Mason.
back. Is he in any other
James
Disney
Mason.
movies that he could join us?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry. Well, actually, that was okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was mine. That was another one of mine. So I'll just piggyback onto Vanessa's there. The 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea uh, episode and our experiences. See, I wasn't there, but James
Oh.
Mason was there. I understand, and I really missed out on that. But
Yes.
anyway, yeah. So that was fun. It was I mean, it just sort of came to me on a crazy Saturday. I'm like going, wait a minute. James Mason is in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I, do a James Mason, which at that point I think I might have told you, but anyway, the only thing I said was James Mason. It's the only thing. And then when I went on my little trip to get some, black hairspray and all that sort of stuff, I was practicing James Mason when I was driving.
But like listeners, imagine this, if you will. You open up Zoom, you wait for the host to let you in, the screen pops up. It's not Brett, it's not Craig, it's James Mason,
James Mason
staring at you. It is a treat.
And then imagine losing that video and then having to do it all over again the next week.
I don't know that people know this, but we actually had to record that episode twice. So we had 2 loving doses of James Mason.
Yes.
If you go back and watch that episode, I think in some of my hosting, I was passive aggressively mentioning kind of between the lines that we had recorded it twice.
It's like we do this every Sunday, I believe is like the line,
Yes, it's going to be every Sunday now that we're going to do
every
this.
Sunday. Brunch with James Mason, so.
Oh my goodness. I in my first round, I will say, we had a trip planned that didn't happen, but I am so grateful for the stories and for the experiences that we have been able to hear about our cast members that help bring the magic to us, and the trouble and the struggle that they're going through right now is tough, but the fact that they're still there and willing to commit so much to helping us have those experiences, I think that they you can't help but be grateful to all of them and doing all that hard work throughout, just keeping like we go to Disney because it's our happy place and we love being there, and they get to foster that in so many people, from the youngest child to the oldest guest that's there, and they do such a wonderful job. So I know you all chose episodes first, but I would just point out, I think I'd lead off with the cast member. Thank you, and thank you for the work that you're continuing to do. If you're a cast member listening to this, we are so grateful to you. So thank you for all the work that you continue to do into the new year too.
Yes. Well, for our listening audience, I was nodding all along. And last week, Vanessa said, quietness on a podcast means you're not talking. So I will say, I concur with those thoughts about wonderful cast members.
Did I? I don't remember saying these things.
Yeah, it might have been beyond the podcast, behind the podcast. So anyway.
Beyond the
it was about the joke. See, I wasn't laughing. That's a whole nother thing.
That's because you both were miming laughter.
I was not miming laughter.
I was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You both, yes, you were. You both
I
were
was not
this for video viewers. And I was like, what are you both doing right now?
I'm trying not to I'm not trying to talk over you like I am right now. Oh gosh, therapy. Those are the wishes for 2021. We're not there
yet.
I know. Just
get a group break.
Everybody, this is the last episode we have scheduled for a few weeks, so we get a couple of weeks off from each other to recoup and regenerate, right?
Well, Craig, you scheduled us every week now, so that's something.
I'm like, yeah, thank you.
To hash out.
We may not be recording, but we are working on the upcoming episodes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'll just say it, because I may not get in 2020. I might have not gotten in my 10,000 steps a day, but I was on a treadmill thanks to the wonderful people at Beyond the Mouse. It was a video editing treadmill, but I'm still loving it. There, I just wanted to say that.
You are a little hamster man. Thank
I
you.
am hamster man, at all hours of the day and night. Can't sleep. I
Can
think
I
I'll
go
edit.
next
So-
on the thing I'm thankful
Speaking of
for?
a hamster man, we need to get this little wheel back on the track here. So Vanessa, please go next.
Okay, so come back with me, if you will, to a time pre-pandemic when we could actually go to the movie theater. And this was my very last experience. And it seems forever ago, but I'm so thankful that Brett and I went and saw Onward together. It was really special. It's a special movie, but the fact that we both were sitting in the dark crying, tearing up. Maybe Brett was more tearing up. I was like ugly crying and sobbing over the movie. But it looking back at that, I didn't realize how special that experience was going to be for the year until I didn't have it anymore. So I thought that we'd be going to a whole bunch more movies, maybe even the three of us sharing our little napkin buckets of popcorn and our Whoppers, and that we'd have a special bonding at the film.
Whoppers.
But we haven't really gotten to go see each other at a movie theater for a very, very long time. So that, looking back, I was like, man, that
We
really
had plans for Mulan. We almost
Yeah.
even purchased tickets, I
Right.
think. We were talking
Right.
about dates that we were going to go because that was going to come out in late March. Yeah.
Yeah. So
When was Lion King? Was that last year?
That was last summer. So it was in like July of
Really?
2019.
Oh, sorry.
long time ago.
Let's do the time warp again. Like going, oh,
Yeah, don't you
yeah.
guys feel that way about movie theaters? Like
Oh, I miss it.
I didn't realize how much I missed it until today, and I was thinking back and just how great. Thank you for going with me, Brett. It's just
My
it was so
popcorn is your
wonderful.
popcorn. So
Me popcorn to popcorn. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Onward was my last theatrical experience. I didn't take my son. I actually think, did I just go by myself possibly? I can't remember. No, I
thought the
did
three
take.
of us
No, I
went.
took my son. I took my son to see Onward. And there was a couple of
Okay.
them that like I get kind of like worried about whether or not he's like old enough for yet. But no, we went to Onward and really had a great experience. And then, like you said, we had planned so many others, and then those just didn't come to fruition. So here's to 2021 being the year that maybe that comes back a bit, seeing how things go. But yeah, I actually, that leads right into what I was going to say as my next one, which was I was so grateful to Disney for releasing those films so quickly on Disney Plus. Do you remember in the very beginning of this, in 16 months that was March of 2020,
Yeah.
Disney was kind of one of the first companies to rush out and say, we're going to drop Onward very quickly. And it was actually Frozen 2 that was the first one. Frozen 2 was set to be released probably sometime in like summer for like, for Disney Plus or whatever. But they were just like, we know, we get it. We know that you parents need something. So they put Frozen 2 on Disney Plus right away. And then Onward was on Disney Plus like within a month of release. Wasn't it in early April or something like that it was on Disney Plus?
It
So
was just a
Shocking
couple of
was
weeks after it was on.
yeah, that was just really, really cool. And, a lot of streaming platforms are doing a lot of different things now. They're trying to be creative. We talked, of course, about Mulan's premiere release, which, by the way, we did do a Mulan full disclosure way back in September. So if you are now watching it, go back and listen to that full disclosure. But, with HBO Max doing their whole slate of theatrical movies next year, who knows what Disney will do? And maybe
this year.
I should say, if they've made an announcement between the time we're recording this and the time that this releases, maybe this is when we'll drop that segment of us talking about it. But I just think I think that you're right, Vanessa. It was a special, like, it makes the theatrical experience that much more special to be able to go and experience those films. Brandon from Classics talks a lot about the communal experience of film going, and that totally rings true, especially this year for sure.
Ah, I just got chills.
Yeah. Brett, what other things? And you can go ahead and feel free to be more listful in your answer if you'd like.
Yeah. I'll be wistful and listful. Just kidding. I guess I was a little unclear in the direction of this episode because I thought we were talking about non-guest episodes. But I'll do two things in once, of course. So I will that. My other thing that my other episode that I very much enjoyed that was not a guest episode was the Disney villain drafts. But like it was the music draft, which Vanessa, I certainly totally understand how you felt afterwards, because it felt like forever before you found out who actually won.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wait on the Disney villain draft for a while yet, still in 2021. But the thing that I'm thankful for, this has been a year, and something that I'm very thankful for is the opportunity to do this podcast with both of you, and grow our friendship in all directions. As far as what is it? The levels of friendship. There's like to be really, really nice to each other, and then you get to the part where it's like going, whatever.
We're definitely in the sibling phase. We're in the sibling phase of the friendship where
we totally
are.
Oh, is that okay? You'll text me later with the actual levels of the relationship, because I'm like going, I've never had siblings. I don't have brothers
now
or
you
sisters,
do.
so I know this must be what it feels like. And I'm like going, I feel loved and hated all at the same time. So is that the brother-sister relationship? I'm thinking
I wouldn't
it
go
is,
as far as hated, but certainly we pick our fights for sure. It's really fun to, and I totally agree with you. And part of that was us going to a weekly show, and I know that was quite the surprise to my two co-hosts. At least they act as though it was quite the surprise when I mentioned it.
Go back and cut to tape if I can find it.
Cut to tape.
Probably noticed throughout the summer, we have been bringing you more and more content, and we're going to continue to try to do that for as long as we can. So you should be looking out in your feeds on every Friday. You should have a new episode of Beyond the Mouse, and we're excited. You should be looking out in your feeds on every Friday. You should have a new episode of Beyond the Mouse, and we're excited. You should be looking out in your feeds on every Friday. You should have a new episode of Beyond the Mouse, and we're excited to let you know that
every Friday you should have a new episode of Beyond the Mouse.
We can reenact that though, can't we, Vanessa?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we can. It was something like, do you think we should go weekly? And we're like, Brett was like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, we try to do special things in the summer so we could do it for the summer. And then it stopped. And the next thing you know, mid-pod,
and we have a special announcement.
Weekly. And Brett and I were like,
okay.
Things can always change, but it is fun to look at it and see that we, this episode last year was like episode 53, and now we're in the 80s as far as episodes.
31 episodes in 2020.
So I kid you not, I did go back and look at our podcasts, and I was like, wait a second, why do we have so few podcasts at the beginning of the year? I was like, oh, this is why Craig wanted us to do more, is because we didn't have that many.
Yes. It's so
where's
funny
the
because
January? Oh, there's not a January. Oh.
When you listen back to our year in the review last year, which is a lot, it's a trip. It's a fun experience for sure. We were talking about all the movies we were excited to see and all that, but Vanessa, you were like, can we get to episode 100 in 2020? And we were all doing the math, and we're like, oh, we'd have to go weekly like that day, starting like that day to make it. So really, maybe it's you that came up with the first idea to go to take us weekly.
Again.
Let's see, that would be projection, since we're sort of doing an analysis sort of thing.
But
so
certainly, you know, another thing I would say before we transition into talking about our guests, unless you have other episodes you want to mention, Brett, is we really enjoy the all the editing that you do. So thank you for that. We're very grateful for that. And just everything
One
that
of my skills.
this team comes together pretty well. And it's been a very cohesive group. And just to be able to talk Disney, especially in those days where like it never seemed like this was going to end, you know, like now obviously we're not in a good spot in terms of you know, where everything is right now, but at least we start to see that things are in motion and that there might be an end to this sometime in the not too distant future, at least parts of it, right? But like there were times in May and June where it was like, is this ever gonna end? Like, and it was just so hard to like keep focused on that. And we had this podcast to like weekly go back and talk to people or talk to each other. And I think that that was such a huge benefit for us to have, and to know that people out there are listening too, that kind of kept me honest and wanting to make sure that we are delivering content for you too, because I hate inconsistent podcasts. And so every Friday I want to have this podcast, and if that ends up changing sometime in the future to maybe not every Friday, I totally get it. But at the same time, I think that for this year it was something that certainly we wanted to do and kind of move forward. So any other final thoughts before we get into the guests? Brett.
Well, I just have, excuse me, I have one shout out experience. This was a little bit of behind the podcast. How do we say this? Behind the podcast? Is that what we say?
BTP.
Oh gosh, don't even. Anyway, so I just wanted to, and I've shared this experience with my co-hosts, but I want to give a special shout out. There was a really, I had a very amazing experience at a new grocery store here in town. So, and so for the really, really, really nice man that, this is what happened. And so, I'm sorry I don't know your name, and I'm sorry I didn't have my camera, because I would have taken a picture of you, who's like officially, well, humbly I say, a fan, because you said this is how it went. Okay. So this guy had his mask on. I had my mask on. And so he just kind of looks at me and he just says, Craig. And I said, Brett. And, you know, I mean, I didn't know, you know, we know lots of people, but when they have their masks on, I didn't know. But anyway, and he said, this is how it went. Okay. Craig. And I said, Brett, from beyond the mouse. And inside I'm like going, yeah, my jaw totally dropped. So for you out there, I'm sorry I don't know your name, but thank you for really validating our existence, because you were so kind and you said, you know, that you look forward to this every week. And that, I'm like going, that meant everything. Oh, I have residual goosebumps. I'm sorry. I was trying to be very calm in the moment. But anyway, so thank you. So if you do listen to this, which you said you do, can you please, you know, type a little shout out? No, that was me. Thanks.
No, take the backsies.
So anyway, so I just wanted to thank you,
and that's so
you
cool.
are.
And certainly that we love that. And that's why we say, you know, join the Facebook page, message us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, shoot us an email. You know, we love hearing those stories and hearing about people listening. And it's kind of fun to be able to communicate in that way. And I think that this is a perfect time to now transition and talk about just the incredible slate of guests that we had this past year, because we do certainly want to say thank you to all of them. And I think there's no better place to start this than with the person that started it all for us this year, and that was Kevin Lima. And we just recently released an episode in December with Brenda Chapman, and that family is just incredibly supportive. And to be able to talk to him, it's so funny because it's back before I had a better mic. My other mic was broken, so I hate my sound in that episode, but I love that we got to talk to Kevin about his experiences with Enchanted, but also in animation and a Goofy movie and so many cool things. It was so great to get to talk to him. And he's really the one that kind of encouraged us to go out and talk and try to talk to other people and to do these interviews. And we kind of ran with it after that. But we were grateful to him for sure for kicking off this incredible year and slate of guests in such a strong way. Vanessa, your thoughts?
I laugh when I think back to that episode because I remember how nervous I was because I kind of thought this is our one big celebrity that we'll ever get to talk to. And, it's just like, don't mess it up. This is your one chance to ever talk to anybody that's worked in film. And gosh, I just remember how excited and nervous I think, well, maybe me, I don't want to speak for Brett, but and that was so nice of you to reach out and share that experience because you had interviewed him before.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice that you shared that with us. And he said really wise things that still hold true, that we still follow on the podcast even today.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, any thoughts there?
Oh, well, the one who started it all for us, so we're forever grateful.
Yeah. And, and it was right after that I decided, well, let's go ahead and let's start looking for some guests. And right away, back-to-back interviews. I think we recorded one on like a Wednesday, one on a Thursday. We recorded interviews with two Disney legends. We interviewed Floyd Norman and then also Bob Gurr. And both were just so wonderful with their time. And they were so amazing with the experiences and the stories they were willing to tell. It's something special when you get to actually speak to someone who knew Walt, and not in just a studying him or as a legend that we've all come to know, but these are people that actually worked with him. And now Floyd would say that he wasn't in the same room with him often, but when he was, he talks in that interview about how much that kind of essence of what Walt was went off to everybody, and that creative spirit and everything else that we have. And Bob Gurr, of course, got to work with Walt so much closer even than Floyd did from his time at Disneyland and Imagineering and building all those great vehicles that we're still using today in some of the attractions. It's just incredible that we got a chance to talk to them. So I wanted to kind of lump these two together because in my mind, it was such a whirlwind couple of days because we spoke to Floyd, and that was kind of a fun experience because it was one of those where the interview occurred a bit later than we thought it was going to. We weren't sure it was going to still occur and all of that. And then immediately we turned around and we interviewed Bob Gurr. So Brett, I'll pitch it to you this time.
I mean, it was surreal, or, to quote the movies, it was surreal, but nice. But I'm just like going, two Disney legends in 1 week for a podcast. This isn't a throwdown or anything, but can anyone out there top that? I'm like going unreal. And we did our research and we were ready and we just gave it a whirl, and they were so gracious and kind, and it was amazing. I'm reeling over that. And
it truly was amazing. Just absolutely incredible. Vanessa, your thoughts on the two gentlemen we got to interview back in June?
Yeah, so I know this sounds a little silly, but I kind of feel like those two guys, and I can't separate out the experiences. That when I think of this experience, I think of them, both of them. I feel like they kind of changed my life in that, I'm expecting Disney legends. You've done so much with your life. You're in your 80s now. You're probably just laying back and having a leisurely, relaxing time. And that's not them. They are, to this day, still working, still being creative, still putting forward new ideas. They're not afraid of technology. I still can't figure out how Floyd Norman has such a good microphone and he sounds amazing.
Gosh.
Like that could put you to like relax you to the point of being like asleep at night. That's the last thing you want to hear before you go to bed, honestly, is Floyd Norman's voice speaking.
Good night, Vanessa.
It's so good. And Bob Gurr, and it's like, you know, for those who don't know, like as we were connecting with him, we had a little trouble with Zoom, but then he starts talking about how he's designing like 3D things on his computer, and he's learned this new software, and my jaw dropped. I'm like, I thought you guys would be relaxing. I didn't think, you know, it's like, man, I got a lot of work to do if I'm ever going to catch up with you, if you guys are still working today. And
I've been reading a lot of stories that Bob Gurr is consulting still on the Splash Mountain retheme. So, I mean, he's working right now, you know?
Right? So it's kind of like, for those of us who kind of feel like, you know, maybe we're starting to hit our midlife crisis and like time is running out. For these people, my impression is that it's not about hitting the goals. It's about living your life in a way that the goals happen, but that the point is to live this way. They just live their life in this creative way, and they never stop. And it seems like they take more joy out of life by doing it that way. So that kind of changed my perspective, man. Out of all the guests this year, I'm a changed woman. Because
would you say that they taught you not to throw away your shot?
You might say that as well.
Much like our next guest, Julius Thomas III, who played Alexander Hamilton. Are you kidding me? Like, this is the hottest musical ever in the history of everdom, which Brett finally saw this year. Whatever, issues aside, I'm glad that you saw it. I'm glad that you got to listen.
I kept it pure. I kept it pure, and at 3:00 in the morning, was it the 4th of July? Yeah,
it was.
Watched it.
Well, the 3rd of July, I think, is when they dropped
it. The 3rd of July. Remember the 3rd of July at 3:00 in the morning? It's all a blur, but I watched it. It's a blur, not a burr.
But you know, it's so fun because see, Vanessa's doing the fake laugh thing. She just did it. Brett. She just went.
At least she's laughing.
Yeah. At least she's laughing. Behind the podcast.
I do what I have to.
But truly, Julius was so much fun. It was so great to talk to him about his career and his time on Broadway, and then in Puerto Rico, and of course in San Francisco. Like, just so much that he was able to do. And he's such a great follow on social media, by the way. And actually on election day, they released a video of the different Alexander Hamiltons and the different Aaron Burrs singing Dear Theodosia, and put it on the Hamilton main page. And Julius was right there. He actually led off the song. So it was really cool.
I know him.
Yeah, immediately I was just like, like fanboying.
So much more impressed.
So great.
Yeah.
So great. Vanessa, thoughts on Julius Thomas III?
Oh, it was just a delight. He's so talented, and I don't know if you guys felt this way, but you know, we all have our parts in our local theater community, and it felt nice to just talk to another thespian person, you know, someone who does this for a living. It kind of felt nice to just see that they were okay. You know, I mean, I'm sure life's not easy for anyone who professionally works in the arts, but it was nice to just put a face and a voice together and just see, like, you're gonna be okay, pal. Like, we got your back. We're gonna come buy tickets as soon as this is over. We're gonna come out to San Francisco and see you as Hamilton again.
That'd be
Absolutely.
great.
I mean, Brett will. So.
Well, hopefully that would be a goal for 2021. Anyway.
But then we got to kind of shift focus a little bit. We had been talking to Imagineers and to animators and to an actor, and now we got to talk to a director of a piece of property that we had been gushing on for so long, because the Imagineering story is such an incredible piece of documentary filmmaking, and she is just so incredible with what she has given to the world and those stories that she tells. And you can tell how important all of this is to Leslie Iwerks, and just such a wonderful, beautiful interview. Brett, your thoughts?
Well, that's when, I mean, we'd had a couple of really, really big interviews, but that was one that, well, and rightfully so, she had her publicist on as well to listen to us, and I'm like going, oh, we have jumped a certain hurdle here, that we are getting slightly more legitimate than I ever thought we would. So that was
Disney
just
royalty, right?
wonderful.
I mean,
Oh my
I
gosh.
worked.
And then we had the chance, actually, because we interviewed her for her documentary.
I was going to mention that Vanessa
So
has
we did
interviewed
that
her twice this
twice.
year. Yeah.
Twice
So
this year.
speak to
Yeah,
that
Wow.
experience,
times
because
are
we did not put that
intimidating.
we didn't put that documentary, full disclosure, on the Beyond the Mouse feed. So if you are interested in listening to that, Jay Hoffman, who does our flashbacks, and Vanessa, they interviewed Leslie for her film Selling Lies, and that came out, that must have been what, in September or so. So you can look back on the Front Row Network feed for Selling Lies, and you'll find that conversation with Leslie Iwerks. You got to speak to her twice, Vanessa.
Yeah. Yep. She's a very intelligent person. And it is a little nerve wracking talking to her, because you're just like, oh, I want to sound smart. But she does make it easy to ask questions and have a really thoughtful discussion. So it was really a pleasure getting to speak with her both times.
And somebody with a personal connection to one of our members on the podcast, Brett, you took a day trip to Marceline, Missouri, right? And
Yes, I did.
you talk a lot about how it was like you were canceling all these Disney trips. You needed some Disney in your life, and like even watching you on like your videos on social media, you could tell how emotional you were during that day and that trip. And you got to meet Kay Mullins, and you spoke to her, and she came on the show. So you speak about Kay.
So there I was at the Walt Disney Hometown Museum, and just happened to talk to the person at the counter, who was Kay. And I said, well, do you ever do podcasts, interviews for podcasts? Oh, why, sure, I do that all the time. And I'm like going, it was a little out of my comfort zone, but I'm like going, would you consider being on Beyond the Mouse? We have a podcast. And then I did get to say, and we've talked with Bob Gurr. Oh, I love Bob Gurr. Oh, and and Floyd Norman. Oh, I love Floyd Norman. And then I said Leslie Iwerks, so that made, kind of, enticing her anyway. And she very graciously said yes. And she gave me her card, and I was able to secure an interview. I was able to. So
Such a lovely interview
very
too.
Good
She's
job,
so
Brett.
well. Yes.
I can't wait to visit her in person. You know what I mean? Like that's something like that's very obtainable, that hopefully happens in 2021. We'll see. But like I cannot wait to go to Marceline and meet her in person. I think that'll be wonderful. Vanessa?
Of all the people we interviewed, and I am not a hugger, so this whole pandemic thing was kind of a godsend. But of all the people we've interviewed, she's the one that I'd like to hug, because she just has a sweetness about her, and the fact that she cares so much about Walt's legacy and the town of Marceline. I mean, she loves her town. That is very clear, and I just love her for that. I want to hug her. I don't want to hug anybody. So there you go.
The person that I don't know if I want to hug any of these people, but I certainly want to have a beer with our next guest, and that's Dan Cockrell, because he told us this wonderful story about how the Magic Kingdom didn't allow alcohol when he was running the Magic Kingdom. We talked to the person that ran the Magic Kingdom. Are you kidding me? And so he would like sometimes get a guest that's like, hey, where do I get some suds here? And he would take them up to his office and give them the tour and have a couple of beers, or he wouldn't have a beer because he was on the clock, but he would give someone a beer. And I just think that that's an amazing story. And it was fun to talk to somebody from the business side of things, because Dan does do so much. He's great to follow on social media. He has his own podcast as well that talks a lot about business relations and kind of how the business side of the mouse, and so that's interesting to me. I think it's very, very interesting. He had just put out a book as well. And so you can search Dan Cockrell and find that. And, it was such a fun interview, and gosh, he had a gorgeous like office or whatever he was. I just remember that office so much, but any thoughts on,
looked like a lanai.
Any, it might have been a lanai. I don't know if I could spell lanai. If I gun to my head, I don't think I could spell lanai.
No.
Lanai.
Lanai.
Okay, lanai.
I think that's right.
Lanai, Brett. Why don't you? Any thoughts on Dan Cockrell?
It was great talking to someone with such insider information, and we did find so many interesting things about the Star Wars area that never was. I'm like going, that was fun. So, but yeah, great insights. I think currently he is actually, I think he's in touch with a number of via social media and all that cast members now. He's trying
doing
to
a lot
help
of
mentor
workshops.
them. Yeah, mentor those that have left Disney or are looking to leave Disney. So yeah,
that's really,
good.
it's great work that he's doing. And, he's a good friend. I'm going to lump a couple of people together here and call them our podcast buddies, our podcast friends. I listen to Disney podcasts like they're going out of style. I love all of them. And I've shouted out several of them throughout our time, but one that stands out above all else in Disney podcasting community is WDW Radio with Lou Mangello. And we had the pleasure of speaking to Lou. It was so much fun. And then also another podcast that I think is just, you cannot get better quality than this podcast is the Imagineering podcast. And we invited Matthew Kroll on from the Imagineering podcast to speak with us in Halloween time. So we can kind of talk about them as a group, I feel like, because they are our fellow podcasters out there. But your thoughts on those two interviews, Vanessa?
Oh, it was just really exciting. I mean, first of all, it felt very validating. Like, we have Disney friends who are podcasters now. Like, we're a real podcast group. Before we just, we just sit around and talk about Disney and you don't know who's listening and you don't know what this is going to be. And then suddenly we're talking to people who do this all the time. So that was very, very cool. But then speaking to them as well, they're just great people. And I'm still looking forward to my dinner that Lou promised me, and I will not let him forget. So
at the boathouse, right?
That's what I'm going to ask for.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. He said anywhere I wanted and get dinner.
Brett, your thoughts on our fellow podcasters?
Well, again, it was just validating and fun. And yeah, it's just phenomenal. It leaves me speechless when I think of all of these people, and the list continues. Now that was my segue.
It does continue. And I will say, I'm going to do a little bit of jumping around here. So chronologically, it makes a little bit of a difference, but we will get you there. Jump around. I thought you were telling me to speed up there, Vanessa.
No, that's my cool move.
That's your cool
jump
move.
around.
That's when Vanessa wants to be cool. Now I can see it because you got the head. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to combine our Imagineers together. Tom K. Morris and Kevin Rafferty. Being able to talk to those Imagineers was such a thrilling experience because it was just so great to get their insights. I can't wait to read Tom's book on early Imagineering because we do know about Bob Gurr. We know about Rolly Crump. We know about some of those big names. We don't know about some of the other people that brought the magic to us. And I can't wait to get my hands on that book. And then Kevin Rafferty, holy moly, just such a wealth of information and such a great conversation. I would love to speak with him for hours and hours. Disney could charge really great money for like a dinner with Kevin Rafferty. I would pay it. I would sign me up for that. So Brett, your thoughts on our Imagineers?
Again, I'm just gobsmacked, to use my British word. James Mason was gobsmacked. So just amazing. I mean, these are people that are responsible for so much that we love, and I get to ask them all the questions about imagination and when are they going to fix it. So that was fun, which, they're not necessarily responsible for that, but maybe they know people who can do that.
You're right. Vanessa, any thoughts on our Imagineers?
I just felt very fangirly. Like, oh my God, you're the one who totally made that ride that I love. Oh my gosh. You know, like that was my whole, and I think I suppressed it well, guys, right? I suppressed
I
it.
think you did.
Until right
Okay.
now, yes.
Hopefully they're not
Woo!
listening back right now.
I've been holding
Hopefully,
it
well, I'm sure that they're
time.
subscribed. They're listening all the time.
You're
Right,
right. You're right.
But yeah, it was so cool to talk to them. And I mean, Tom K. Morris and Kevin Rafferty, I think maybe because we were able to, and thank you, Brett, for loaning your book to me. I was able to loan Rafferty's book. And I mean, I just felt like I knew him, you know, it's like, it was very weird, but just, he has such a great personality. Again, if you ever think like, oh wow, to be a Disney Imagineer would be really cool and kind of zany and fun with lots of opportunities, his book is that. It is exactly what you'd hope for. So it was so great. It was so great to talk to them.
Yeah, speaking of books, we had someone that has written so many books on Disney and Disneydom and Disney parks and everything else. We were able to talk to Jeff Curdy, and I have been paging through his book on Disney Christmas cards. Just wonderful stuff. I can't recommend it enough. I need to get Brett all of his books back to him because he lent me a bunch of his books and I haven't given those back yet. And we interviewed Jeff a long time ago. So sorry about that, Brett, but just it's
Still,
so
you'll
great.
still have Vanessa beat. Just kidding. Love ya. Love ya.
I always return them though. I don't think I have one book of yours.
No, you don't right now. No,
All
you
right.
don't, you know.
All right, you two. So talk to me about Jeff Curdy.
Focus.
We'll go to Vanessa first.
Sorry, what was that?
Jeff Curdy.
Jeff Curdy. Okay, so imagine if you were in a game and it was Disney themed and you had to like go up onto a mountain and speak to a wise one. That is what it felt like talking to Jeff Curdy. Like, we've been on this Disney quest, we've talked to people who knew Walt, we talked to Disney legends, but then we came to Jeff Curdy, who is the epitome of knowing everything about Disney. He's just the wise one, you know. It's like it's so amazing to meet someone who knows so much, not because he's obsessed, but because he appreciates it so much and he understands the meaning of this legacy. That is a really cool thing. So I mean, I'm again a little nervous talking to him because I'm like, what if I say something wrong? What if I get the year wrong, the time? You know, what, he probably knows date of birth on most of these people. What if I get that wrong? You know, time and date. So anyway, it was really cool, and there's definitely more that you could talk to him about. It would be amazing to talk to him again because I'm sure he could go on, and I would gladly listen.
Can I promote another podcast? Is that allowed? The Progress City Radio Hour did a Christmas special, and Jeff is in that. And he talks specifically about his Christmas book. It's totally great. Go check them out for sure. It's wonderful conversation. Also, Becky from the Disney Archives is also on Mr. Rutherford. So go and check that out too.
I'll get my gloves. I want to
yeah,
go
exactly.
to the archives.
You have to wear your gloves while you're putting on your earbuds. But we do have a couple of more that we want to speak about. Another interviews. I'm going to lump these two together as directors. We talked to a couple more directors. It's incredible that we talked to DJ McHale about Tower of Terror. And then we did mention her at the beginning, but we talked to Brenda Chapman and we got to release that this month as well. Just incredible to be able to speak to the two of them about bringing property to life. And in the case of DJ, coming from Are You Afraid of the Dark and being able to take one of the prized attractions at Disney World and make that into its own film for Wonderful World of Disney and Tower of Terror, just excellent. And then of course, Brenda having just such an amazing career with Disney and everything that she's done, and even outside of Disney with DreamWorks and her new film, Come Away, which I can't recommend that you go out and see that enough. But Brett, your thoughts on our two directors?
Too much fun. And again, you know, when you're talking about you get nervous for these things, well, you do. And I think that's showing them respect. It's showing, you know, the work that we do some respect as well. It's kind because it's kind of like a performance. for those of, we do shows, and it's kind of like, okay, you have all this anxiety before, and then when you're on the stage, and in this instance, when you're talking to these people, everything calms down, and they are so kind and so nice and real. They're just like us, only really cool. Well, y'all are very cool. I'm like going, but it's just amazing. So, and to find out, I just enjoyed them both so much, and just too much fun. And they were also fun edits. So just so you know, so they were fun to edit, because I live with this for, after our little time with them, I get to live with them for a while and edit, and been lots of fun, both of those.
Yeah. Vanessa, did you have any thoughts?
I'm amazed because they both made products, films, the TV shows that I watched as a kid. And I think I've forgiven DJ for scaring me on Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think I have. My therapist and I will discuss it later. And then Brenda, I just felt like she was so relatable. And again, sometimes when we tell our non-Disney friends or family members whom we're going to be speaking to, they don't always know the name, and that's okay. They should, but that's okay. And
Totally.
but when you say you're speaking to the director of Brave, and your family reacts with, "Wait, what? Who are you talking to?" That's a really fun thing for us. Yeah. And I just wouldn't trade this for anything. This has just been such a great experience this year.
And if you can believe it, there's two more that I wanted to mention, and they're both Disney legends. We spoke to, of course, last week on Christmas, we released our interview with Rolly Crump, and just so excited to have been able to speak to him. Another one like Bob Gurr that really helped build what we think of as Disney theme parks, and helping with the 1964 World's Fair, and helping with the initial thoughts of what would become the Haunted Mansion. And just such an incredible gift. And talk about living life in your 90s, just such a great guy. And thank you to Marie and to Rolly for that interview. It's just so great. It's just so wonderful. And then I think, I saved her for last, because in my mind, I think that this was the one where, when we were able to secure it, it really kind of starstruck me a bit when we were able to speak to Jodi Benson. And I made a joke a long time ago that I wanted to speak to a princess on this podcast, and never in my million years did I think that would actually come to fruition. And then a couple of months later, after I said that, here we are waiting for Jodi Benson to jump on the line. And I should say that there's a bit of a behind the podcast on that too. We, right up to the interview, we had assumed we'd have about an hour with her. And then we had an email towards the very end, right before the interview was to occur, that we would have a half hour. So we had to go back and try to cut through our questions and figure that out. But then when she actually was on with us, she gave us 45 minutes of her time. She was just so gracious and so amazing. And you can tell that from the work that she does. I mean, she's out there with Kids the World right now, just trying to raise all those funds for them, and some beautiful stories that she told. So I'd like to give it to the two of you one last time. We'll go to Vanessa first. Anything you want to mention about Rolly or about Jodi?
Well, Rolly is something to aspire to. He is just loose and living it. And I loved everything that came out of his mouth, because it was just, there's great stories there. They were things that were not expected. And he was a lot of fun. I hope I can be that cool someday. And then Jodi, wow. Yeah, that was something. I think we were all like, oh, this thing, we're really doing it now, right? Like that's what that felt like. And I don't know that it was a joke, Craig, that you said you want to talk to Disney princess, because from my recollection, which is often terrible, I am Dory, but I thought it was more like, oh, I want to talk to Disney princess.
I mean, it was in a message thread, so it could have come across that way.
That's how I read it. It was like, oh, I'm gonna.
Is that how you always read all my messages? Like, good morning.
Yeah, That's how I read all of them. Is that not how I read?
Yes. Isn't that how we're supposed to? Didn't that come in the memo? You must read things like, okay, sorry.
Aggressively, yes. But yeah, it was really cool to be like, wow, Craig, like what you said is happening. Like you're getting your Disney princess. How
You're
cool.
right. You're right.
Hopefully the first of many. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we know that they have a group chat. And so hopefully
right?
someday if
Wow.
Jody mentions us in that group chat, we could really take off here. But Brett, your thoughts on our 2 Disney legends to wrap up our guests for the year?
Well, really was a treat and a wonderful gift from us to you, and from him and Marie to you. So that, and a little bit, I wanted to thank again Carla Wilhelm for helping with getting Jody as a guest. You know, I was mowing when I got the news that we had that Jody Benson was going to do our podcast, and so the rest of the time I was mowing, I was thinking, what are your questions for Jody Benson? And I'm just like going, it was surreal. It was just surreal, and she was so kind.
I know that literally we just took a half hour talking about all the guests we had this year, and we're so grateful for that. And there's no, I mean, this year was a lot of things, but it certainly was the start of something very special for this podcast. And so thank you to all of them that were able to come. But now we get to look forward to the new year as we are in 2021. And we get to just say maybe a couple of, we went a little long with the guests. So maybe kind of a bit of a quicker looking forward to, what are we looking forward to in 2021? And certainly, I think that there's a lot to be looking forward to, but I'm going to go to my co-host first. So I'll let Brett lead us off. What are you looking forward to in 2021?
Well, since we're not really there yet, and I hope that we get there. I'm sure we will, and I'm sure you'll get to listen to this and all of that. But I cannot wait to get into the parks again. I cannot wait. I've spent 3/4 of 2020 making plans, which actually was therapeutic. But by now, let's see, I'm on version number 20 of changing plans and trying to get them. So I cannot wait. I am going to be a very emotional mess the entire time I'm there, but I will be wearing my mask until that time happens that we do not have to wear that. And hopefully that will happen in 2021. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. And then, yes, like Vanessa said, when when I'm riding Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I'm going to be looking for, where's the iWorks? And did you see that, just going to totally do the Vanessa thing that we talked about. I'm like going, did you know? I'm like going, because this year has been amazing. Sorry, we're still talking about that, but I'm like going, anyway, but I'm looking forward to going to a Disney park in 2021.
Absolutely. I don't know when we'll go back. I don't know if with school starting up and kindergarten and all those things, I don't know that it will be 2021 when we go back, but it certainly will be around the bend at some point. So yeah, so I'm excited to live vicariously through you all and your trips as you go along. But Vanessa, 2021, what you looking forward to?
Well, I was going to say, if Brett didn't say it, Brett going back, because Brett changing his plans constantly has just been like, is he going? Is he coming? I don't know where he's going. Where is he at? It's like, where's Waldo, but with Brett. But I'm very excited for you to get to go back. That'll be a lot of fun for, like Craig said, for us to live through you. But the thing I'm most excited for 2021 is getting to go back to the movies with you guys. I mean, really, that's such a big part of our lives is seeing movies. It's what we talk about, not being able to go and see them. I mean, God bless Disney for releasing Soul on Christmas Day, because I really felt like something was missing this year. And so I'm so thrilled that we've gotten to watch that. But actually going to the movies, seeing the lights, getting the soda, getting Brett's popcorn, whipping out my Tupperware container, taking Brett's popcorn away from him and then handing Craig my Whoppers and having him go, what, you brought hamburgers? No, Craig, this is the candy. And I miss all of that. I do. So I'm really hoping we can do that again in 2021.
And you know, mine kind of goes along that theme, Vanessa, because and shut your ears off, Brett, for just a second. But I am really excited to record in person with the two of you at some point in 2021. That doesn't mean we have to abandon Zoom forever. I know that Brett really likes editing these videos and they look very snazzy, but it just, even if it's just like a one-off, just because we can get together and record, I can't wait to actually record with you all in person and be able to do some of those events again. Like how fun was that trivia night a couple of years ago, and doing events at Anvil and Forge. Like I love that brewery. I love supporting them. And, you know, just stuff like that, just going places and being with people is what I cannot wait for. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so great, regardless of when that occurs in 2021. If that's May, if that's August, it doesn't matter to me. I cannot wait for when that comes around. I'm looking forward to it. Brett, did you have another one you wanted to mention? We did 2 last year, so I feel like maybe 2 this year would make sense. Although we cannot do Be Our Chef as the final thing.
No, we have to. I don't know. The second time around was a little iffy. So do we really want to go around again?
Yeah, we better.
Because last year I said, going to Disneyland in Tokyo. I'm like going, well, you know,
well, we really kept everything very, like easy this time around, I feel like. But what were you going to say, Vanessa?
I had a dream last night that I went to Disneyland. So maybe it's a premonition that we'll all get to go.
Went on all the rides, didn't have to wait in line.
I have Southwest Airlines to use, you know, so come on, everything get better.
Sorry.
So
I totally interrupted you, but it's an Atari song. You said I had a dream that I went to Disneyland. Like that's an Atari song. Yeah. Mm-hmm. San Dimas High School Football Rocks by the Ataris. I'll send it to you as soon as we're done.
All right. Well,
sorry, go ahead. I am so sorry.
I thought all my ideas were original, but that's fine. I guess I'm just rehashing what I've heard somewhere else. Well, anyway, maybe we'll get to
You're
go
synthesizing the moments. Yes. I want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to Walt Disney World. I want to go
everywhere.
Yeah. That is my second. My second one officially is to go to Disney.
I want to go inside of a store.
Sure.
I want to go back to work.
I want to have lunch. I want to get my nails done.
Having lunch with someone.
Lunch with someone.
No. I've topped you all. Getting to play Jungle Cruise in person because I'm totally gonna whoop both you guys. I can't wait to play that game.
That will be really fun.
That'll be fun. Let's do that.
Here's what I'd like to propose as my wish, and this ties actually beautifully into our wish that Vanessa had at the end of last episode. I gave you grief, Shirley, for Be Our Chef, but you also said you would love to get together and have like a Disney potluck. And then I said, maybe we could do a meetup of some sort, and anybody that loves Disney, the Dis Fan Central group, to try to get like in a meetup and everybody bring a potluck of Disney foods, as long as potlucks are okay anymore. I don't know if they are, but whatever we can do. Maybe you just bring your own Disney dish and eat it. I don't care. But how fun would that be, just to get together with people and be able to experience some of those things. And we do have a slate of movies coming out. We have quite a bit. You know, we have WandaVision, which is going to be a great series.
We did this last time and it all fell through. I don't think we should talk about it.
Okay, well, we could say at least WandaVision, because that is on Disney Plus. That is coming for sure.
I know, but we haven't seen it yet. It could be our
what
guest,
movies we're getting in 2021. So, but it has been just a remarkable year, and thank you so much for listening, and Happy New Year to you. Have a fun 2021. Get out there and crush this year, because 2020 crushed you. Right? But no,
we're
seriously.
all on edge. Like, I think we just need to go into 2021 tiptoeing, be very quiet, do not make any resolutions, say nothing. We just need to go in very silently so it doesn't know that we're there.
Right.
Yes,
It's
you're
like
right.
it was like preparing for the millennium. Everyone was all and Tinderhooks. I'm like
Universe,
going, yes.
universe, please be nice to us in 2021.
Please,
We'd really
please,
appreciate it.
Please
I'm
be
asking
nice
you.
to us.
I'm
love
asking
Please
you
be
in my
nice to
nicest
us.
voice possible.
we love you.
In our
Please.
NPR
You're the best, you're the
voices.
Please be nice to us in 2021. So thank you all so much. And we love that you all listen to us. It's so great to have you listening in. And again, please message us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook at Beyond the Mouse Podcast. You can message us on Instagram at Beyond the Mouse Pod. We also have a Gmail account as well. You can message us at beyondthemousepod@gmail.com. Get in touch with us and continue to spread the word about our show. Tell all of your friends that love Disney all about us, and you can subscribe to us wherever you find podcasts. And of course, you can find us on nprillinois.org as well. We absolutely love having you listen. And thank you so much. We do this all for you, and it's a lot of fun. Although the Disney therapy helps too, right?
I mean,
It's a little for us. Really, honestly, isn't it?
It's probably a lot for us and a little for
Yeah,
you.
I
But
think so.
still, we appreciate the sentiment of you listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
on
you.
our journey.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. James Mason. Thank you.
The first of many times I get to say this in 2021 for Beyond the Mouse. I am Craig.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Brett.
And we will see you real soon in the front row. Maybe we'll go a little party hat on. 2021, y'all.
I have one.
There's your
Oh, you got a party hat.
things we've learned in 2020. That was good. Your lung capacity is so much better now.
Took a lot out of me.
job.
I couldn't have skated for anything else.